perspective of an environmental organization. So scenario 3 is those who want do more. What does that mean? According to the white paper, it means that willing member states work together more closely. The white paper mentions only very few areas, again, defense, internal security, taxation and social matters. And that could lead to a situation where we have different budgetary or legislative levels for different member states, or a coalition of the willing. And I mentioned 2 examples, for instance, better cooperation of police or harmonization of tax rules. So it's not that this is something new. I mean, we all know there are already areas where some do more than others, such as Schengen or the Euro, so it's not completely new. Before coming to 4 points I would like to make on this scenario, I also have a couple of more general remarks on the white paper as such. So I think most of us would agree that the issues that are close to us as civil society organizations, human rights, social justice, environment, culture and youth do not at all feature prominently in the white paper. The focus is very clearly on tackling migration from a perspective of protecting borders. It's about internal security, it's about growth. So from the perspective of an environmental organization, I guess the white paper was a big disappointment, because environmental issues are hardly mentioned at all, except for 1 sentence about climate change. So the white paper doesn't offer any solutions to tackling the most urgent and pressing environmental issues in Europe, such as, for instance, severe air pollution, which leads to 400,000 premature deaths all around Europe every year, or the fact that our agriculture is completely unsustainable and contributes to water pollution and the loss of biodiversity. So the white paper in the introductory part mentions that the EU has played a leading role in promoting the Sustainable Development Goals and in pushing for an ambitious Paris Agreement, but then it doesn't give any answer to whether the EU is actually going to be a leader in the implementation of these aspirations. So this is quite disappointing. And there are also 2 points where the white paper kind of celebrates the achievements of the European Union. One is the fact that the EU is the largest trade power in the world, but it doesn't mention at all that this wealth that we have accumulated and from which we benefit is actually built on both the environmental exploitation and the labor exploitation of other parts of the world. There's no mentioning of this problem and of global justice anywhere in the white paper. And the second fact which they celebrate is the fact that the EU is the biggest donor in development aid and humanitarian aid. And again, there's no mentioning of the fact that I have some figures from a recent study from the US and Norway, which has provided very compelling data that the global development aid volume is $1.3 trillion, but at the same time the developing countries, from the developing countries, there are $3.3 trillion flowing back to developed countries, so obviously we are being developed rather than developing the rest of the world. So all these issues of global justice are not mentioned at all. Having said this, I still believe that the achievements that the EU has made in terms of environmental policies should be used to explain to citizens that we can achieve more and that we can actually achieve something together. And these achievements are very popular amongst European citizens. I mean, who doesn't benefit from clean water, clean air, or better consumer protection? So I think we should use that to promote the European Union and to defend ourselves against those who believe that it doesn't have any added value. So now just 4 quick points on scenario 3 from an environmental perspective. So concern number 1 is that we already see that there are differences in the level of implementation of environmental standards in Europe. So I'm afraid that if we go at several speeds, that might actually widen the gap between the member states rather than bringing us further. The second fear is that many environmental issues are of a transboundary nature, so it doesn't make any sense to kind of give it back to the national level or regional level to tackle air pollution or water pollution, for instance, or also to tackle climate change. Then the third point is that when we look at products, and for instance the regulation of chemicals that can be used, again it doesn't make any sense to come up with different standards as these products circulate, and there's no added value in coming up with different standards. And then the fourth point is that most environmental standards are already meant as minimum standards, and the member states are already free to go beyond if they want to. So we don't have to provide for that opportunity, it's already there. So to sum up, I guess scenario 3 is not the most dangerous one for us. I believe the single market one is more dangerous, so is the next one, doing less more efficiently. But at the same time, I think that all European citizens have the same right to an equal level of protection from health harms. All have the same right to the same clean environment, and I believe that there's added value in continuing to working together rather than allowing for a system of different standards.